Jan Shegda here. I am a career coach with Clarity Coaching, and today is our third part in the three-part series, How to Use Personality Tests for Change. In this series, we'll answer the question, okay, now that I know my personality type, how do I use that for anything beyond just greater self-reflection? So we covered the StrengthsFinder and the Myers-Briggs in the last two videos. Today we'll talk about the Enneagram and how to use it for change. Excuse me. So first, what is the Enneagram? It's a system that's been used based on who you talk to. They might say hundreds up to thousands of years. Some people trace it in its roots back to Plato. Traditionally was used in spiritual settings, so through the churches and mostly through the mystical branches of the monotheistic religions. So that would be mystical Christianity, mystical Judaism, mystical Islam. And it was used as a way of understanding kind of what your Achilles heel is as you relate to other people and to God, and what things will help you develop. One of the things about the Enneagram that's significant and characteristic is, as part of your type, you'll get a number, 1 through 9, but with each of those types is also a characteristic passion, or kind of your Achilles heel. And so part of the usefulness of the Enneagram is identifying, okay, yeah, there's any number of things that people could be working on, but here's the thing that's really important for you to work on. So the Enneagram is very deep and has any number of applications, and they're usually in the personal and spiritual growth arena. So how do we use it for change? Okay, for change on an individual level. And we could take my type, for example, here. So my full Enneagram type is 4 with a 5 wing, sexual variant, dominant, self-preservation, secondary variant, and I'm a 4-5-8 tri-type. So that all seems like a different language, I'm sure, for some of you. But the way I use that, let's say, and we'll take the same issue as we take in the past two videos. Let's say I'm unhappy with my job, I don't like what I'm doing for work, and I feel pretty frustrated and stressed out most of the time because of it. The Enneagram would say, okay, it's kind of almost a blend of the approach of the StrengthsFinder and the Myers-Briggs, which I'll recap for you here in a little bit. So the Enneagram says, okay, Jan, you're a 4 on the Enneagram, so probably if you're frustrated with your work, it's missing that thing that you want most out of life. Let's remember what 4s want most out of life. They want to create meaning, depth, and beauty. So if you're not doing that at your job, then of course you're going to be unhappy. So let's take a strengths-based approach. Here's the way it's like the StrengthsFinder. It would say, how can you get more meaning, beauty, creativity, impact, and depth in your current work? And that's going to help you to like it more. On the other side, and this is the way that it's like the Myers-Briggs in terms of how you would use the Enneagram for change, it would say, okay, let's understand the environment and what the environment is asking from you and whether you're really able to deliver that. And if you're not, maybe you just need to flex a little bit and meet the requirements of that environment. So if, again, and I'm using the admin situation, which is the one I used last time, if I'm an admin and I'm not happy doing that, then maybe there's some ways that you need to flex to be more present to your current reality. For example, the Enneagram would say, if you're a 4, that one of your characteristic passions is envy, which is just kind of this sense of always noticing what's missing and what you don't have. So the Enneagram could say, okay, your environment currently is that you're an administrator with this company. How can you meet the demands and focus on what's positive and working well, and how to meet the requirements versus noticing what's missing? So it's also going to address it from kind of that long-term developmental side. How can we not go to the dark side of envy, of noticing what's wrong with this picture, and instead being positive about it? And some other examples, like let's say if I was a 7 in that same situation, a 7 would actually have kind of the opposite approach probably, in that they tend to be a little bit more optimistic than 4s, but their problem would be in trying too many things too quickly and having their their hands in too many different situations. So in that same administrator or unhappy with their job situation, the advice on more the developmental side would be, okay, how do we settle in and get you more focused on one area versus being involved in so many. So to recap, on the individual level, the Enneagram invites you to try and get more of that core thing that you want out of life, and the Enneagram will help you identify what that is. And that is what I'm saying is similar to the Strengths Finder, starting with the strength base. Okay, you're a 4, you're about this. You're a 7, you're about this. Let's get more of this in your work. And then on the environmental side, this is where it's similar to the Myers-Briggs. It would say, okay, where are you currently? And let's evaluate that environment and how you're not cutting it in that environment and how you need to change. Okay, so that's the individual level. Group level is very similar. It gets a little bit more complicated because working with the Enneagram is very deep work, as you probably heard from what I just described. But if you let's say you're working with a team and you need to more effectively meet your sales targets and you want to use the Enneagram to change for that. First thing you would do is talk to each of the people on your team, and this is again where it's like the Strengths Finder, and say, okay, you're a 2, you're a 3, you're a 4, you're a 5. How are you going to do sales most effectively according to your type, according to what's natural for you? Let's make that possible for you to go out there and do it that way. That's the first half. The other half would be, okay, you're a 2, you're a 3, you're a 4, you're a 5. What pitfalls are you running into, and how are those related to your 5-ness, your 4-ness, your 3-ness, and how do we manage around that? So in creating the change when using the Enneagram, it's very deep, transformational, more long-term work than you might have seen with the previous 2 examples. So that's how it differs. So to sum up, Change with the Enneagram uses the general approach of how I would describe both the Myers-Briggs and the Strengths Finder, but it's more slow, long-term developmental work that changes you as a whole person versus more of a problem-solving approach. Okay, so that's all 3 of our tests and how you can use those to elicit change. So if you want more updates like these, be sure to subscribe. There will be a subscribe button under this video. And as always, if there is a series you'd like to know more about, you have a question about any one of these 3 systems, about coaching, about what working with a coach is like, or what it can do for you, anything really, any question that you have, I'm always excited to have a new topic for a blog. So please let me know what you'd like to hear, and I'd love to create something for you. Otherwise, see you next time. Thanks.